بدأت؟ طيب أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه الطيبين الطاهرين وعلى أزواجه أمهات المؤمنين، ثم أما بعد. والله جزاكم الله كل خير على الحضور. بدأنا النهارده متأخرين شوية لكن صحيح بالله صحيح. ماشي يا أخ أحمد، هسيبك كنت عارف هسيبك ليه. طيب إن شاء الله عز وجل إحنا معنا ضيف كريم أخونا الحبيب الدكتور أسامة حمودة. هنسمع منه كده حاجة سريعة بس قبل ما نسمع منه هنسمع آيتين قرآن من محمد. أخ محمد أول يوم. طيب خد زياد وديله. أحمد
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا عبادي الذين آمنوا إن أرضي واسعة فإياي فاعبدون. كل نفس ذائقة الموت ثم إلينا ترجعون. والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لنبوئنهم من الجنة غرفا تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها، نعم أجر العاملين. الذين صبروا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون. وكأي من دابة لا تحمل رزقها الله يرزقها وإياكم وهو السميع العليم. صدق الله العظيم.
brother Muhammad. Thank you. Bismillah, mashallah. Nice voice and good recitation. And also brother Muhammad, mashallah. Memorize all the Quran, حفظ القرآن كله. صلى الله جل وعلا يجعلنا من أهل القرآن إن شاء الله عز وجل. الدكتور أسامة هو كان جاي زيارة سريعة وأنا اتأخرت عليه. عشان اتأخرت عليه قلت له تقعد معانا وتقول كلمتين، يعني تقول حاجة. فيعني عشان بنحبه. دكتور أسامة يمكن لعل بعضكم إن شاء الله عز وجل لو احتاج شيء في التخصص، وأنا أعتقد إن البعض بيدرس تخصص دكتور أسامة. دكتور أسامة خريج جامعة الإسكندرية القاهرة، لا اسكندرية سنة 92، وحصل على دبلوم من جامعة القاهرة، ثم جاء إلى أمريكا، حصل بفوق جاء 3 على 3 ماجستير. الماجستير الأول في ماجستير من عين شمس قبل أن يأتي، ماجستير من جامعة عين شمس في من كلية التربية. حصل على ماجستير في التربية الخاصة من جامعة نيويورك، حصل على ماجستير في علم النفس من جامعة نيويورك أيضا، ثم بعد ذلك حصل على الدكتوراه في علم النفس التربوي من جامعة فوردهام سنة 2003. الدكتور أسامة يعني أعتقد يمكن هو بقى يكلمكم عن حاجة يبدأ فيها. تم اختياره على مستوى مدينة نيويورك ضمن مجموعة اللي هي بتضع الدكتور
اللي هو ال ELA test والmath test for the next year.
طيب نبدأ من هنا إن شاء الله. عشان كده كويس
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما عظيما ما أحاط به علمي وخط به قلمه وأحصاه كتابه وارض اللهم عن سادتنا أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وعن التابعين وتابعيهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. First, I was amazed and thrilled and very happy to hear the recitation from Brother Muhammad. MashaAllah, I really enjoyed those 2-3 minutes that you recite the Quran. And to be honest, after 52 years of my age, if the time go back to me and I had a dream or I have a wish, I will wish to have a beautiful voice and recitation in the Quran, also to memorize the whole Quran. After all this achievement in my life, if you really ask me right now what you really miss, I would say I miss learning the whole Quran. And every time when I led by someone who have a beautiful recitation like Muhammad, to be honest, I feel very jealous. I hope that I can have the same capability or same ability to have that amazing recitation. Quran always have a secret and have a meaning, especially for those who can really read the Quran like Muhammad. So Muhammad, Jazakumullah khair, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from you and your family, your parents, Allahumma ameen.
You can start now, inshallah.
Inshallah. Also, it's really amazing that I was coming to a quick visit to see Dr. Akram. Dr. Akram is my friend, my brother, and I always reach out to him for guidance. It's not only for you guys, for also myself. But it's really a long journey from me to grow up in Egypt a few years ago. And when I was maybe in your age, maybe I was in middle school, and since that time I had a vision to be a doctor. But not a normal doctor. I want to be someone to be very unique, someone to be very well known, but mainly to benefit my community and my people. I grew up in a type of village style, small town in Egypt, not far from Alexandria. And then when I got to college, I moved to Alexandria. Since that time, I never rest, until today. So back in 1992, alhamdulillah, I finished with the highest honor from Alexandria University's School of Education, 1992. That's where I live. I live some area called Camp Shazar in Alexandria. And I was chosen to be an assistant professor after finishing my master's degree from Cairo University back in 1993. 1995, I have my first master's degree in education psychology from Ain Shams University. Egypt chose me to be working in a diplomat field. First trip for me to be in Pakistan, Islamabad, Egyptian embassy in Islamabad back in 1995. When I find myself, this is not my career, so I left Islamabad and I left my career, and I decided to come to America to do my dream, the biggest dream, to be a doctor. I remember when I first, and I was talking to my wife when I was coming from Long Island right now, and I told her, the first day I came to America, and I remember it was Sunday, 1996, early Sunday morning, and I have no place to go.
What is the month?
It was February. Very cold, and I have a friend of mine who said, okay, when you come to New York, you're gonna come to my house. So I remember the address somewhere in Woodfield and Queens, and I went and I found no address. There was no place for me. He gave me like a fake address. Luckily, my dad told me before I leave, you have to reserve an hotel. And I remember the hotel. It's in the Marriott Hotel in Teaneck, New Jersey, once you pass from the George Washington Bridge. But the man who picked me up from the airport, he was an also Egyptian who was riding a limousine, and he said, brother, I am sorry for what you're facing, and because I live in a studio, and I don't know that time what is a studio is, I don't know. Otherwise you will come. I just live with my wife, and I told him, you don't have to worry about it, just put me somewhere and I'll find a place to sleep. Sunday morning, 1996, dropped me in 42nd and 8th Avenue in Manhattan, 10 o'clock in the morning. Imagine, before you come to America, maybe the story is different for you because you guys were born here. But for me, coming from overseas was the imaginary dream about America that's you walking in gold. And then you find in 42nd and 8th, early Sunday morning, drunk people in the street. Street was full of garbage, and I said, this is not America, probably I came to the wrong address. But it was very difficult for me. It was really difficult. So I tested America for 3 months, and I find that this is not for me. So it's time for me to go back to Egypt. Even though I have an assistant professor job in Ain Shams University, which I fight to get it before I left, but when I went back, because I left my assignment as an early diplomat to the Egyptian embassy in Islamabad, they told me you're no longer part of our organization. So I find no place for me in Egypt. 2 months back, I returned back here, and I said to myself, I'm not going back before I earn my title to be Dr. Hamouda or Dr. Osama Hamouda. So from there, the story starts for me. Going to Rutgers first, and then few semester going to NYU. My $34,000 saving was vanished within 6 months. And then I have to go work someplace in Manhattan, which I was not capable of doing it. I never worked in my life as a hard-working man, like handwork, work in restaurants, something like this, which I found it a fault of myself. Because if the days go back to me, I will go back and learn how to work and to be dependent on myself, not dependent on my parents. But then I never lost the hope. And I said, no matter what challenge I'm going to face in this country, I'm going to work day and night to earn my dream. Luckily, I was honored with a full scholarship from Fordham University, 67 in Columbus, to finish my PhD. And alhamdulillah, my name is still in the dean list in the College of Education in Fordham University until today. I remember my point to finish my PhD was 4,000 points, and I get 4,000 from 4,000. Getting my first job in the Department of Education as an advisor for special education, District 17 in Brooklyn. And then from there, the challenge I face every day, I always say to myself, the time that was given in a day is less than the time I need to achieve my goals. So every school that opened a vacancy for me to go to do a professor job or teach a class, I was there first. Getting my first master from Fordham, from NYU, another one, from City University, the third one, and then from my PhD from Fordham University was not enough for me, was not enough to fulfill my dream. My dream was bigger. Until, alhamdulillah, I reached to LIU in Brookville, Long Island, to finish my ADD, Educational Doctoral Degree in Educational Leadership, which put me right now in a situation to be a lead in one department of the School of Education in Brooklyn. I recently, alhamdulillah, was recognized to be among one of the 16 in New York State to overseeing the ELA and math tests for the whole entire state. The drive before me or the drive behind me was my mother's dream. When I was young, she always see me as Dr. Osama. And she passed away 20 years ago. But I never put her dream down. She's almost in my heart, she's almost in my brain, she's always in my dua. And every move and every achievement I did in my life, it was because of this woman. And to be honest, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved me in this country, Allah saved me because of this masjid and many others. The minute I am away from the masjid, I don't feel myself. And as Muhammad was reciting the Quran, if you take the 2 PhD I have, if you take the 5-6 semester degree, if you take my job or my title and you give me one title right now, I will say to memorize and to be able to recite the Quran. After all of this, I think, alhamdulillah, I reached the top in my level. I think, alhamdulillah, I fulfilled my dream. But again, to be able to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be able to make a difference in our community, this is the bigger dream, and I think this is the biggest step I'm going forward, inshallah. I hope, inshallah, next time when we have to sit down together, we'll tell you a little bit more about my journey, because I believe there is too many lessons from my journey for all of us to learn, including myself, and including my kids, and including whoever would like to listen and learn. I'm not saying that I'm a unique story, there is too many people better than me, way better than me, alhamdulillah. But I feel like the challenge I faced since 1996, when I first came to this country until today, was a great. And I felt that's the honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me to marry and to have 3 kids. Beautiful kids, mashallah. May Allah save them for me, and may Allah save all of you. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me everything I want in this dunya. I'm still 51 years old, and I'm still way to go. So again, I'm just thanking Dr. Akram for giving me the opportunity to be honored to sit with you, and I promise you, inshallah, for a very close meeting, inshallah, as soon as possible. جزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
جزاك الله خير دكتور. يعني على قد انا فهمت واضح ان الدكتور ما شاء الله واجه صعوبات كثيره من اول صديقه من اي محافظه؟
Same place.
Same place.
Same town.
اداله عنوان المزور وضحك عليه. لكن اعتقد دي كانت البدايه كويسه ان هو يبدا يعتمد على نفسه. اتصدم اول ما نزل وشاف امريكا. طبعا شاف امريكا اول ما شاف يوم حد شاف في السكاره، فده في حد ذاته برضه ربما شيء كان دافع للامام. لكن رائع وممتاز جدا ان خلق الدكتور اسامه هو بيحمد الله سبحانه وتعالى ان هو حقق كل ما يتمناه. لكن تبقى الامنيه الاخيره هو كان بيكلمني فيها من فتره ان هو عايز ونفسه خلاص بقى يقول لي كام سنه كده الريتاير ده خلاص يجي المعاش بتاعه، يقول لي ابدا كده تاني بدايه جديده كده اتعلم العلم الشرعي. هو ممكن بالمناسبه بالتخصص بتاع الدكتور تخصصه ايه؟ علم نفس مش كده؟
Educational psychology.
انا اعتقد ده ممكن من خلال التخصص بتاعه ممكن ان هو لو عمل حاله من حالات الدمج والتواصل، عمل يعني بريدج بين يعني اسلامك ستادي وبين التخصص بتاعه اعتقد ده ممكن يكون في خدمه كبيره ان شاء الله عز وجل. مش هقول للمسلمين فقط، لا للمسلمين وغير المسلمين ان شاء الله عز وجل. حد درس علم النفس عموما مش تخصصه، حد مين درس علم النفس هنا؟ واحد؟ اعتقد الكل مفترض 2 3. مين درس علم النفس؟ مش حد درس علم النفس؟ طب يرفع ايديكم كده مين درس؟ ولا حد؟ مش درس علم النفس؟ ان شاء الله. اسراء علم النفس؟ ما درستيش علم النفس؟ لا درس علم النفس. شيخ الغزالي بيقول واحد بيقول له هل قرأت علم النفس لأرسطو؟ قال لا، وإنما قرأت علم النفس لمحمد بن عبد الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. أنا اللي عم يبقى أرسطو من عند النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. حد عايز يسأل الدكتور أسامة في أي حاجة؟ ها؟ حد يسأل الدكتور أسامة في حاجة يا شباب؟ اتفضل يا أحمد.
سؤال واحد.
اتفضل.
To begin with, thank you so much for being here. My question relates to the hardships that you overcome in your life. So you told us that alhamdulillah, you've reached the top of your career and in your field. I just want to ask a question relating to a person. It doesn't matter if it's in the same career or a different career, but how do you stand out? How do you reach the top in a position to stand out from like your from other people in the same field?
Again, I was lucky to be accompanied with some people who I just put them as a model for me when I was maybe your age. Luckily, my house was close to a masjid called Sahaba, and that masjid was led by a group of doctors and professors and very knowledgeable people that time, and I set them as a model for me. One time, I want to be like them, and I never felt not even 1% that I'm not going to reach their levels. So to set a model first in your life and to put some and actually that was always an argument between myself, in a good way, between myself and my dad. He said you always seek in the sky and that's why you're always in rush. And as I said before, until 2-3 years ago I was complaining 24 hours is not enough for me, because what I need to do every day, I need I was asking if there's 5-6 hours extra to fulfill what I have to do. So again, to set your goal very high and to be determined and don't look back and to make sure that you will do it no matter what. And there is one more thing is, I always say to myself, Math was not my favorite. And to finish my first PhD, I have to take some courses in math. It was very difficult for me. But I said, if Muhammad can do it, I also can do it. So no matter what challenge I face, I always put this next to me. If someone else can do it, why not me? So that was the major shift in my life. Any goal for me was not really up to here, was maybe 10 times higher than me. And I have to work. Because I believe if you put a goal, if you want to reach number 10, you may be able to, if you work very hard, to be 7, to be 6, and if you measure this, you'll be successful. But I always put 20 to reach 15. Even my goal was 10. And that's exactly what you have to do.
Thank you.
ان شاء الله. حط انت كده فوق اللي انت عايزه بمرحله كامله. اعتقد فكره كويسه ممتاز. بس الدكتور ما عرفش سبحان الله يقول لك ما بيحبش الماس، بس هو طالما اي حد قادر عليها اقدر اعملها. فكره كويسه، هي نوع من انواع التحدي. بس انا عايز اسال سؤال هنا. انا اعتقد الجيل بتاعكم كله الموجود الان دلوقتي ما مرش بالظروف اللي الدكتور اسامه مر بيها، ولا حتى ابائكم مروا بيها. بالمناسبه كل ابائكم برضه واجهوا عدد من الظروف اللي واجهها الدكتور اسامه. والان دلوقتي يمكن فيه البعض قليل مش شايف حد منهم، او قليل لا ما فيش. انت ممكن مش مطلوب منك انك يعني يكون جنب بجوار المذاكره بتاعتك ان يكون عندك جوب في نفس الوقت. اللي تقول احنا بنشتغل، واحد يقول ارفع ده بتشتغل ايه؟ سبت وحد، الكبير بيبقى سبت وحد وجمعه. ومن امتى بتبدا الكلام ده؟ لكن انا اعتقد فعلا الشخص اللي هو بيبقى عنده الاثنين بيعملهم مع بعض، وفي البعض بيعمل الكلام ده شغال في نفس الوقت يعني بيدرس. اعتقد هو عنده نوع من انواع التحدي تشالنج كبير جدا جدا للغايه. فبرضه انتم ممكن تحققوا مثل هذا الامر ان شاء الله عز وجل بامر الله تعالى. ماشي يا دكتور. هو اصلا يعني
معكم على خير ان شاء الله.
اي حد بيبقى جاي يقابلني لما اتاخر عليه لازم على طول كده. جزاك الله خير يا دكتور. شكرا جزيلا. ربنا يعزك. السلام عليكم. على خير ان شاء الله. نتواصل ان شاء الله. السلام عليكم. طيب احمد، انت ان شاء الله عز وجل ندردش مع بعض كده شويه.